In 1994, when I met you, you were my very first gay sister.
Really?
Yes, before that, I only hung out with straight people. So,
Oh, that's so
thank you for
sad.
getting me started on my liberation. And actually, now I don't know any more straight people.
Oh, that's good for you. I'm so sad for you. 94. You have no gay friends.
The world has gone bonkers. We now live in George Orwell's 1984. War is peace, ignorance is strength, and crazy is normal. How do you stay sane? Igue Ramos is a book designer and food writer whose most recent book is The Republic of Taste. Hi, Igue.
Hello, Jessica.
You're from a very macho Caviteño
Yup.
culture.
Yep.
What was it like coming out to a very traditional, masculine, hard-drinking culture?
Actually, I never came out. I mean, there's nothing to come out to.
As in, they
Tama
knew?
ba yun? Yeah, they can smell your matris a mile away,
Like how did you manifest?
If there's like a very, very strong macho or macho society, patriarchal macho society, there's bound to be a very, very strong bakla society as well. So it balances it's like yin and yang. So it's not really a problem being gay in a small community.
So you
like
didn't
Cavite.
have the
No,
the
no,
traditional
there's no
traumas
bullying.
na
No.
ilulublob ka sa drum.
No, none of those sort. No. I mean, we don't really have that kind of like baggage.
Yeah, so it's possible pala.
For instance, like I never really like cross-dressing because it's such a burden.
What do you mean?
I have like gay friends and then yung parang ay nakakapagod. I don't really like fashion. I mean, like in a sense that
The trends.
we don't really subscribe to the stereotyping, like if you're bakla, you're
if you're
like
bakla, you
this.
have to behave like this.
You have to
etc.,
behave
etc.
like this. And I learned that at a very, very early age now. You don't have to be like them
Yes.
to express your gayness.
No, you don't have to be a specific way.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Let's not put, one bakla in one pigeonhole.
Yeah,
because
don't put everyone in a corner. Yes.
Exactly.
Wait, can I offer you something to drink?
Yes,
Would you like
please.
a coffee?
Coffee,
Gamba.
black, please.
Black coffee, please, Gamba.
Oh my God. Hi, Gamba.
That's Gamba.
Okay, hello. Katakot yung abs.
Yeah,
Anyway.
he's our all-around assistant.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I want a Gamba in my house.
And you can probably get one.
Yeah.
And so, you worked as a costurera for the great Rolando Tino, whom we all hear so much about, but did not know.
Yeah, it was a very exciting time. This was like during the 80s when there's no opportunity for creative people to go.
This was pre-EDSA, no?
This is pre-EDSA, and like
Kumbaga,
now,
the dying years of the Marcos
like
period.
I'm fine arts advertising major, but in UST. But the only way to go, like to work is like to go through advertising agencies and there are very few advertising agencies
At the time, yes.
at the time. So, and I don't really like to work in an advertising agency because it's too much pressure, I heard. So I want to work in the cultural sector. So I didn't really work, but I forced myself upon Rolando Tino, like some sort of a workshopper, volunteer helper.
Okay. You tell us a Rolando Tino story.
The actor, yung parang, so this actor,
What was the play?
kasi dalawa yun Queen and the Rebels and the Burnt Flower Bed, but in fact, it was Queen and the Rebel. The actor played the soldier. So,
Was he the lead?
well, second to the lead, like
Yeah.
he played a very important role, like a support lead na so national anthem played, and then the actor's not present.
Okay.
Kasi you have to be 1.5 hours, at
Ahead
least
of
2
the-
hours before
Yeah, for
curtain.
costume,
Yeah,
for
because there's
instructions.
like briefing, there's a company call, and you know, Rolando's very, very strict when it comes to company call. Production, 3 hours before, because you have to prepare the costume, you have to label them, you have to, you know.
Yeah,
the national anthem played, the chime played, you know, this is CCP.
Yeah, do they still use the same music?
No, it's just a chime, like, ding. Pag mabilis na yung chime, yung interval,
Yeah.
that's like 2 minutes before the show. Anyway, here comes Rolando. He's the director, but he sits in the control booth, the technical booth, with the stage manager. So, wala pa rin yung actor, yung artista. So, he was late, and national anthem played, and then after that, like, they made an announcement. Sa hapong ito, ang gaganap na sundalo ay si blah blah blah, dahil si blah 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 ay sumakabilang buhay na.
That's what you get for being late.
So, talagang, and then, I was at the back, I was backstage on stage left near the room 101 entrance, and then you can actually hear the corridor like, no!
The actor who was proclaimed dead.
He was like
running in
slow motion. And he's not really there like for, you know, like, yung scene niya is like act 1 pero scene 10. Something like that.
But still, he didn't attend curtain call, so...
Yeah, the company call. So,
late pa rin siya.
Late pa rin siya.
Anyway, so, in your observation, are artists eccentric by nature, or they feel that they have to behave like weirdos because they're artists, as in it comes with the territory? Or is it a combination of both?
I don't know, like, define what eccentric is. Kasi like, this is my normal. I try to act normal, but people still find me eccentric.
Oh yeah, people don't even approach me to say hello because they think I'm going to turn into the Hulk. So,
diba? Parang ganon.
I think everyone is essentially a weirdo, but creative people are freer about expressing their weirdness.
Yeah. Actually, like, when I started, I'm actually an introvert.
You're being an introvert, I guess, is connected to your first profession, or would it be the second? Now you're a book designer. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so you're a book designer. You're still a book designer.
Yeah.
And everyone says publishing is dead, but here we are, as in we're still in publishing related things, except that it's now called content production.
Ganun ba yun?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know.
So what's your plan for surviving the publishing apocalypse?
In the late 80s, David Carson declared that print is dead. He predicted all this like digital content coming out, and then of course like ebooks and everything. But you know, like, I'm doing cookbooks. I love designing cookbooks.
Yeah, and you're in cookbooks.
Cookbook is the only thing that sells now, like in
That's
terms
true.
of
as in
print.
Publishing houses are supported by their cookbooks. As in cookbooks supported the publication of my own books. Yes.
Like for instance, Phaidon. If you look at their records, Phaidon Publishing, their flagship publishing policy is based on cookbooks. In fact, they retitled some of their cookbooks as, you know.
Is this also true for, say, online networks? Should we have a cooking show?
Yes, yeah. I mean, like Jamie Oliver's career is it's pegged on the cookbook that he produces every year. When you see his cookbooks, nasusulat ba to ni Jamie Oliver na mag-isa, no? He has home economists.
Yeah, and of course you have to have a lab to
They have
try
a lab
the
and he just like sign off.
So this gives me an idea, with the next time I publish a book of fiction, it should have recipes. And then it should have a cookbook element na yung parang with a fold-out cookbook.
That kay Esquivel,
that like water for chocolate.
Like water for chocolate, merong recipe. Diba?
This gives me ideas. But if only I could cook.
Exactly.
I steal your recipes, ha?
No, in fact, like I did a cookbook before, like a tribute cookbook to Larry Cruz. It's called Larry Can Cook. And Larry cannot cook. But we featured all the recipes from Cafe Adriatico, from Feli J's.
Interesting. So Larry Cruz of the Larry Cruz.
Yeah. He can cook.
He could not.
But
But he could eat.
Could eat. He has impeccable taste. And he's also one of my mentors.
What was his favorite food?
Siyempre, Kapampangan. Like anything Kapampangan.
Yeah, but it's so unfair.
Buro.
Kapampangan food is so great. But then,
Yeah,
my folks are from Bicol, so everything that I grew up eating in the kitchen has gata and sili.
Four pillars.
Even our adobo is white and
like,
has sili.
Like Bicol, the four pillars of Bicol cuisine. Gabi, gata, nyog, and pili.
Correct.
I was telling Larry Cruz when I was working for him. Kasi I designed the logo of Cafe Habana. Diba?
Ooh, ulala.
Diba? Cafe Habana. The one in Malate. So I was telling Larry Cruz that time, sige Mr. Cruz, sige Larry, Kapampangan, di ba? Like Kapampangan food is great. Sige, kayo na yung culinary capital of the Philippines. Pero kung walang Cavite, walang Republika. Di ba? Sabi ko gano'n. So I really learned so much from him also. Again, I forced myself upon
No,
Larry.
it's great because your field is book design, but because of the different types of books you design, you get into the substance of the material you're designing.
In fact, like you're the one who encouraged me to write. Like,
well, yeah, because I noticed that you have this encyclopedic knowledge of 70s, 80s pop culture information, like
subculture. You know why? You know why we're like that? Kasi ngayon, 'di ba? Like if you notice, it's now narrow casting because of internet. And then when we were growing up, this is like the martial law years.
We could specialize.
You only have like 5 TV channels.
Yes.
FM.
Are you kidding? Those 5 aren't even, programming all day.
Exactly. Like, and then you have like FM stations na well-defined yung
Yeah.
And then
Adult
we have
contemporary, rock,
art,
etc.
middle of the road,
Yes.
like album-oriented.
Yeah, and now everyone's talking.
And now everyone's talking like shock jock and in Filipino, like you cannot
Offering sex advice in
like-
the middle of the day.
like for
there's a lot of radio dramas now.
Yeah, exactly. Like radio dramas are relegated to AM and in Filipino. FM is purely English.
Yeah, but now on FM they also speak Filipino now.
Exactly, that's my point.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah, we had 3 broadsheets and you only read them for Ikabod Bubuit.
so you watch John and Marcia on a Saturday night. And then on Monday morning when you go back to school, like everybody's talking about
So
John
we
and
all had the same cultural references.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Unlike now, wow, like, sino ba si Thanos? Or, what's GOT? What are spoilers? Diba?
Okay, so you and your husband Kevin have been together for what, 30 years?
Almost. No, not 30 years, mga 28.
Yeah, because it's such a big difference. But
But it's like
you were
it-
practically an infant then. What is the secret? What is the secret? And also, congratulations, because a few years ago you got married.
Yes, we got married in Dublin.
Yeah. Are you Irish? Are you Irish now?
No. I'm still Filipino.
Yeah.
I mean, I still carry Filipino passport.
Yes.
But I'm a citizen of the world, as you know.
Yes. So
Char.
so what is the secret?
Okay, the secret is giving space. Okay, like in our first 5 years of marriage, we decided to have a separate bathroom.
That is such a good idea. As in, if you cannot have separate houses, better have at least separate bathrooms.
Correct. And then, like, at a certain point in our lives, we have a separate bedroom because we both snore.
Ah.
Well, that's the secret. And then at the same time, we're like poles apart. We're totally different people. And then another thing is like you have to be financially independent if you're going to be in a relationship.
Yeah, what does this
Like,
mean?
you cannot be codependent to another person when it comes to finances.
So your assets are separate.
Yeah, but at the same time you share. Like
Everything
juice,
is, as titas always say, cuentas claras.
cuentas claras.
Yes.
Because you don't. One of the things that happen in a relationship is the problem with money.
Always, yes.
Always, no. So we sorted that like in the first month we were together. So
This is a good idea for,
Yeah.
keeping the stress out of your
it's
relationship.
yung parang this is like the elephant in the room that
Yes.
you're like walking around it like, shall we discuss it? No.
Yeah, and
Like,
it's
you
especially
really have-
important if there's a big disparity in the income. Yes.
in the income, exactly. So you really have to set parameters like what's your So now like I cook and he washes the dishes.
Good.
Tipong ganon,
Duties are
Duties are delegated also.
and defined. Yes.
Defined. So all the household things I sort, all the domestic issues, international issues sa kanya.
Okay.
So something like that.
So, in recent years, you've rebranded as a food writer, food historian, food anthropologist. So, would you say that this is what you finally discovered what you've always wanted to do?
Yeah, like the mot du jour, it's a fashionable word now, it's the ikigai.
Ikigai.
Ikigai is like
because we were always borrowing terms from the Japanese
the
because we don't
Japanese.
have them ourselves.
Diba?
The Japanese and the Germans, they have words for things that we need but did not have.
Yeah, there's no direct
Like
translation.
if you have too many books in your backlog, that's called sundoku.
Sundoku.
Yes.
Right. So ikigai is like your
Ikigai.
purpose, the purpose of your being. So I discovered that I can combine book design, publishing, food writing, and graphic design into one whole big package as passion, and that's why Republic of Taste was born. And it's still like Igue
So
Ramos Design
it's
Studio.
your different interests kind of
More-
vaulting in.
Yeah, like your passion, what you're paid for, what you're good
so
at, what
so
you can
in
give.
order to be happy with your career, you have to find something you love that also pays the rent.
Correct. So I really love the idea of being, like book design is a very solitary job. So, remember my studio in Intramuros. I
Yes.
used to like just work there alone by myself most of the time because, like it helps me concentrate
Yes.
on things and see the finer details. And then I love eating. I love food. I like doing research. I love doing food research. In fact, you helped me in my first essay for the Doreen Fernandez Food Writing Award.
I'm totally going to take credit for Igue's writing career because I was the one who pushed him na, all this stuff, you should write it down.
So I showed you my essay and like, can you read this and can you give me a feedback? I'm learning things, and as I go along, I mean, I had no career path. I had no career plan. I thought my career path was like cultural work at a cultural center until I resigned because I had a fight with my boss. So that's a long story. That's
Did it involve throwing things or?
No, I mean
knives or-
my direct supervisor just asked me to resign.
Interesting.
So I resigned, worked for a private sector. In fact, I worked for Levi Strauss Far East.
Yes, and you designed the jacket, which I still have. Yes.
Jacket and whatever. So I wasn't happy. And sabi ko, if I can work so hard like this for a company, maybe I can work for myself.
But is happiness a major consideration when you decide something? It's like,
Happiness-
will this make me happy?
No, actually, it's more of contentment. Even if the money is not big, the fulfillment of a particular project, and you're paid like fairly, like ₱1 million.
Yeah. No, that's the thing. Fair payment. It's a concept that kind of eludes
Yeah, you see,
people, especially writers, because writers get paid the same today
I
as
know,
they got
I
paid
know.
20 years
It's
ago.
really sad, no? Like,
Minsan nga bumababa pa because they say that anyone can write.
no, that's not true. No, and like for instance, I just saw one of the foodie films I saw that really marked my parang like established my ikigai is when I saw the film Jiro
Dreams of Sushi. Yes.
And I said, like, when I established my company before, the IRDS in Intramuros, it's a creative boutique. I don't want to do business cards. I don't want to do logos for like everybody. I just want to do select projects.
Yeah.
It's the same concept. Like it's small restaurant, not 10 tables but 4 seats.
Yes.
And then you operate only at a certain time.
Yeah, when you have
And
a little,
serve
you have a
only-
little chalkboard where
Yeah.
today's specials.
Like you only serve 20 sushi.
Yeah.
So that's my business idea. That's my business model. I don't have to do websites. I don't have to do this. I don't have.
Yeah, but sometimes in order to survive and buy
Yeah,
cat
you know
food,
what?
you have to accept
I
things
did.
that you don't.
I did that before. Like when I had my studio, we accepted business cards. We accepted clients. Like like treated us
Like shit, basically.
like shit. Yeah, like something that you can find under your
Yes.
shoe. And when I started like really forming my ideas about business, sabi ko, like I'm buying fonts, I'm using like licensed software. I'm using licensed font, and then
Yeah, unlike the
This
rest of the world,
this is already
you buy
a unique
licensed software. Yeah.
So this is already a unique selling proposition that I tell my client. I use licensed software, and if something ever happen to your file, it's in cloud, and
Yes.
I can like do this for you. So I charge them accordingly, and then I hold their hand, and everything's like I'm not RTW, I'm haute couture.
And this brings me this reminds me of the times when 10 15 years ago
Yeah.
we would sit around and be anxious together, and the cause of our anxiety was always money.
Money, yeah.
Yeah, I guess well now that I think about it, we're the lucky ones because at least we know exactly where our anxiety is coming
Yeah,
from.
yeah.
It's from the lack of money.
Yeah, like you have to remember, like we were operating in a certain, like we live in Manila, and then the opportunities for creative people are so
Limited.
limited. Unlike now, you have like all this content or whatever driven projects and
Yes.
and products that we never dreamed that. Like they're so lucky. The kids now are so lucky, and
Yeah, they're very lucky and they're very blasé about it. Compared to us who had to type our thesis on a typewriter.
correct. Yeah,
With
and there's
footnotes. You know how hard it is to type footnotes on a typewriter?
no Wikipedia, no
No
Word-
Google, no email.
no email,
Yeah.
no nothing. Like, I mean, the luxury that we would have is a
Beeper,
yeah.
pager. Yeah, and you
Pager.
remember when cell phones were car phones which were this big.
Correct, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In a way, our generation is lucky, like those who were born in the 60s.
Yeah, when we crossed over from analog to digital.
Yeah, because we were the very first adapters. Like, we were the first ones to have an email.
Yeah, and basically, if a magnetic pulse, an electromagnetic pulse, takes out all the social media, all the
Yeah.
technology, we'll survive.
We'll survive,
and everyone
yeah.
else will have the younger people will have a nervous
Yeah.
breakdown because
No.
how can I Instagram?
I just hope like people are more, like young people nowadays are more financially
Aware.
Aware.
Yeah,
They
and
F
also
you.
they have to realize that there are other professions besides influencer, because you know
Correct.
how everybody wants to be an influencer now. And did you see that video of the girl who's crying because her Instagram was taken down? She says, I can't go back to having
Yeah.
a job. It's like, honey, join the rest of the planet.
Yeah, I don't really understand that idea of influencer. Kasi, like, in fact, like, there are certain schools now, I won't mention the school, parang they teach, like, how to be an influencer, like, social media. Parang, I mean, you don't teach that. It should, like, grow organically.
Well, apparently no longer. As in, we're living in this, because we
Yeah.
come from a period when, I worked in a newspaper, and if the advertising people set foot in the editorial room, we're all like, get out!
Yeah, exactly, di ba?
And now advertising dictates everything.
But advertising is like it's a sunset industry because
Well, because everybody has to change to adapt to
Yeah.
the information age.
Diba?
But
So-
anyways, when you're glum, how do you cheer yourself up?
I collect two things. every city I visit, I should have like I should buy their iconic cookbook.
Okay.
And then lately, I buy food-themed postcards. So I have like
You can make yourself actually.
yeah,
You do
but
make
but
postcards.
syempre iba pa rin like Picasso's like Still Life with a Lemon, mga ganon. Like
Para greetings
iba-iba.
from...
So I build a wall-to-wall, like floor-to-ceiling bookshelf na really sturdy. Like it's
So
wood.
it's your wall.
It's so beautiful that it just goes around the entire room.
You built this yourself?
No. I asked Sandra.
You hired
I asked
someone to
Sandra
build.
Viray actually.
Okay.
So when I feel, down, like syempre after work, so I retire to my room. I just like count my blessings or count my cookbooks. These are like the consciousness of writers, of cooks.
It makes you feel connected.
And you can actually feel the vibe of the book because so it makes me happy. Like I'm so babaw nowadays.
Oh, don't knock babaw ha. I feel that the people who get really anxious and depressed is because they dismiss everything as babaw. But
yeah, I know, but
babaw is wonderful.
that's true.
But of course, it has to be balanced because you can't be all babaw, in which case you'll float away like a bubble.
True. So that makes me happy. My cookbook collection makes me happy. Every time I embark on a trip, I keep saying, no, I'm not going to buy a cookbook. I'm not going to buy a cookbook.
And then you end up buying
And
10
then
cookbooks.
Then you end up buying 10 cookbooks or like, ay, mahal that cookbook. But in Kindle, it's only, sige, Kindle na lang, instant gratification. So
But I find that delayed gratification is good, because remember when up to the 90s, as in you hear that your favorite band has a new album, and so you start scheming. Who do I know who's in New York who can buy me that album and send it? And so you have all this anticipation, and when you finally get the album, you're very happy. Now it's like, oh, Sikwan dropped a new album. Let me see it. Tuk, you have it.
Yeah.
So it's somehow not the same because you didn't wait for it.
Like, let's say, for instance, Madonna has a new album. You see on Facebook, let's say, a common friend of ours would say, ay, Lola Madonna has a new album. Like, and then you go to iTunes. Ay, it's there na. And then
you have to get it. And so
then,
there's now an element of groupthink involved.
Like collective consciousness that drives you to purchase.
Yeah, you have
or,
somehow been peer pressured into it.
You can actually listen, but you don't have to buy it.
Yeah, you have to train yourself not to do what everyone recommends.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Last question. What's your next book project going to be?
My next book is going to be it will be published by Anvil. It's called Dila at Bandila, ang paghahanap sa pambansang
Dila
lasa
at Bandila. Nice.
ng Pilipinas. So this will break certain myths about Filipino food. Like I mentioned that adobo shouldn't be our national dish.
What should be our national dish?
None. May mahabang essay about it in Filipino, and then I'm trying to like set the record straight, but there are other ways of doing things. Let's say how Filipinos perceive food, and how there's this big dichotomy of pagkain pang mahirap and pagkain pang mayaman came about. And then I used the essay of Dr. C. Salazar, the Austronesian studies, because our food is essentially Austronesian. And then at the same time, I use this concept of the dambuhalang pagkakahati ng kalinangan, which is the great cultural divide. And then it's very, you can actually use historical theories to identify the development of our food.
Yeah, food is our culture.
Yeah, so publishing food writing, food history, food anthropology together in
That's
one
great.
ikigai.
They go
No?
together.
So and then another one is like I'm doing a zine, which is like a food zine. And
Are you going to photocopy all the copies and staple them?
Yes.
That's a zine.
I mean, if you remember, I was doing all these Narcissus X
Yes.
cartoons and stuff. I want to go back to that and tell young people that I've been doing this as well.
Yeah, you did not invent this.
So I used to run a magazine, di ba,
Yes.
for a supermarket, and it's a consumer service publication called Sans Rival. Now the food scene, I'm planning to call it sui generis naman.
So, last question. would you consider yourself a sane person?
Yeah, say crazy Zane crazy. Like you have to have like sense of craziness to be able to survive Manila.
Yes.
And Manila's not a very friendly city to live in.
Well, not if you insist on being in the creative disciplines.
Yes, you have to be crazy to survive the city.
Yes, you do.